Hello and welcome you all to our presentation about our company called CAVOCADO. We are going to go through the stages and the internationalization strategy projects of our company to explain how we are thinking of going to an international market and what are other strategies to do it. So let's begin. Let's start with Maria Alejandra first.
Hello. Well, most Colombian avocado exports are destined towards Europe, with primary consumers being Spain, Belgium, the UK, and the Netherlands. Avocado wants to market our product to Japan. Even though it is not so close to home and the culture is really different from ours, Colombia is already exporting avocados to China, and China is even farther from Japan, and the culture is similar. Also, Colombia is in a privileged position with access to both Atlantic and Pacific routes. Taking that into account, we can manage those three factors easily. Another factor that is considered is the language. However, it won't be a barrier because we will rely on qualified translators, and it won't be hard for us to negotiate with Japan. Now, there are many reasons why we choose this country. First, Colombia and Japan are part of the World Trade Organization, which allows both countries to trade easier thanks to the multilateral agreements they both have. Also, diplomatic relations between Colombia and Japan were established in a treaty called Friendship, Commerce, and Navigation signed in Washington, D.C. on May 25, 1986. Besides, according to the Colombian Embassy in Japan, commercial ties between the two countries are increasingly dynamic. In addition, in 1996, Japan became the third focus of the Colombian imports after the United States and Venezuela. Japanese products exported to Colombia are mostly assembled vehicles, auto parts, video cameras, and communication devices, while Colombian products exported to Japan were mostly coffee, grains, and nickel, and on a minor scale, emeralds, exotic reptile skins, and chocolate. Most recently, flowers and leather products have also been exported. On the other hand, Japan is a market in a constant growth and shows on an average avocado consumption of 0.5 kilograms per capita. In this market, Colombia will compete with countries like Mexico, Peru, and New Zealand, the last one being an interesting competitor because it could not supply the demand for avocados in Japan, but we are certain we can do it. So, why choosing avocado? Well, we want to export avocados to Japan because they are regular food items in the Japanese households, and Japan does not produce them easily. In fact, they were trying for 7 years to cultivate avocados and finally bought resorts this year in Mayuzama, Japan. However, avocado seedlings are easily affected by cold and dry conditions that prevent them taking root, and many of those planted in Mayuzama have dried up. It is clear that it's not easy for Japanese people to have access to avocado all year long, and even some of the countries that supply Japan with avocados have failed them with the amounts they need. That's where Colombia comes in. We, on the other hand, are currently the largest exporter and producer of avocados in South America. On the other hand, according to the information provided by Colombian Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Tourism, and ProColombia, Colombia is experiencing rapid growth in the export, production, and planting of Hass avocado. The Hass avocado is the most popular international trait due to its eccentricity. When ripe, the skin acquires the dark, almost black tone. It has a nutty hazelnut flavor, high oil content, small size with a smooth and creamy texture over other varieties. Colombia offers Hass avocados throughout the year thanks to our climate, various altitudinal layers, and nutrient-rich lands, a quality that is an added value and attractive for investors. Our competitive advantage is that we have the availability to produce high-quality products all year long, and have access to both Atlantic and Pacific routes to export the products, which will facilitate the transportation and therefore allow us to offer a great product at a not so expensive price with the guarantee to supply the demand needed from Japan. So how to market on Japan? It is already known that there is a high demand of avocados in Japan, which means we don't have to conduct a market research. Now our export strategy will be direct export, which means we will sell directly into the market using our own resources. This will allow us to have higher profits because we won't have intermediaries. We will have greater control over all aspects of the transaction, and we will get to know our customers and have a better understanding of the marketplace. Customers will know us, making them feel more secure while doing business with us, and will allow us to know exactly who to contact in case something isn't working, and we will have better protection of our trademarks and patents. However, as I said before, a factor to be considered is language, but it won't be a barrier because we will rely on qualified translators and interpreters to help us negotiate with Japan. Even though this medium requires more people, effort, money, and we will have accountable of whatever happens, we will reduce that by hiring an export sales manager, establishing a separate export department, setting up an export sales subsidiary, and forming a foreign sales branch which will handle sales, distribution, and promotional efforts. Now I will introduce you to Adrianna, who will talk more about our product.
Thank you, Maria Alejandra. So, where will you locate the company? According to Westfala Fruit, they recommend locating the company in UK, Europe, North America, Latin America, and South Africa. Why? Because in these places there is a great human potential. Many people are prepared and qualified as agronomists, growers, and staff, willing to work the land and produce. Also, avocado is another fruit. States are operate in major origins including South Africa, Mexico, Chile, Colombia, Peru, and California and USA. So, what is the steps to internationalize and follows? Farmfolio did a research according to this, and their conclusion was avocados are an exotic fruit that was quickly become one of the most popular priced and traded foodstuff. In the recent years, avocados have gained a large popularity worldwide and captivated important market shares in Europe and North America. So, what is the steps to follow internationalization? We found 4 stages, and it's like this. First of all, we growing. Cultivating an avocado for your favorite recipe is a fascinating process. Commercial products start typically after 4 years with annual yields of 60 to 200 avocados per tree. Avocados grow in the best warm climates, with a plenty of measure and thoughtful cares in family-owned groves. Packing. Packing this amazing fruit is an important facet of putting out the best quality avocados out on the market. When avocados are packed right, it ensures consistency for our buyers. At CAVOCADO, our state-of-the-art facility include such technology as pallet and bean pre-cooling, puncturized sires, and fusion air repair. Our third stage is distribution, whether destination for domestic grocery chains, wholesales, club stores, food settlers, and forget markets. Our shippers are controlled throughout their journey to be certain we offer maximum freshness at the point of delivery. And finally, the store. Shoppers globally enjoy the avocado. A recent study calls youthful, married customers and need a healthy meal or snack. A distinct group of super heavy shoppers, day buyers account of 63% of all avocado purchases. So, how can we success? I am perfectly said we can success with this market as we develop multi-stakeholder capitalism. We urgently need to start thinking about the origin about the fruits to create more sustainable consumption food chains. To impact our consumers is the first step to reducing the climate impact on our food. This product, avocados, situation makes it plain not to only meet in placing and having environmental. Despite all of this, there are some customers and international certification of sustainable farming and fair trade than avocados sold in supermarkets and stores. Consumption is one of the country could be not at the cost of destroying an original country. Mexico also needs to change its law to prevent and publish this burning and forest land for avocado production. Finally, for us, it does not happen. We need to rethink our diet or lifestyle trends to reduce the consumption of avocado to minimize our contribution of the environment impact causing the green gold. My conclusion or our conclusion was to live in a global and fully integrated planet where we happily eat with our friends and family while watching sports could be destroying entire ecosystems. And we also thought this effect is a long run. It's a long run. It means we have to think about it next time we are eating a guacamole or tortilla chips. Thank you so much. Now Gabriela will talk about.
Thank you, Adrianna. So Asia and Europe market represent a great opportunity for Colombia avocado to continue to grow up in this place, increase the country economy and more job opportunities for growers. In addition, the price of this fruit in Europe and Asian country is more favorable for Colombian product than the North American country. Since in Europe and Asia, avocado is a very exotic fruit and has better possibilities have been found with more competitive price than, for example, in the United States. Next, please. So, the possibilities of growth in this region is the admissibility granted by Japan to Colombia has avocado, and the recent signing for the agreement that establishes the requirements that enable the export of avocado are part of the series of strategies implemented by several actors so that the Colombian fruit is the position of the market international. The agriculture minister say in an official statement that the country see that the China's market is a very attractive destination for this fruit in Colombia. Has avocado export between January and September of last year increased to 35,000 tons, and this means that the increase of 45% in relation to another years. 2 years ago, China was the ninth destination of Colombia avocado, with a total of 44 tons shipped to this country. It is expected in the coming years to position the Asian country in combat in one of the first destinations. So about the risks, wind trade agreement between ASEAN countries and Colombia from a political point of view is that Colombia currently has also trade agreement with United States, and in this year the United States and China, for example, have problems and difference between these two governments, such as the increase of tariff on behalf of China, which caused a crash, and it's very possible that China will stop eliminate any commercial relationship with United States and countries close to United States, for example, Colombia. About regards to the risk competitiveness, for anyone, it's a secret that agreements between nations with different levels of economic development, that is between countries with a developed economy and emerging countries, are not equitable as the multilateral agreements, and that will try to balance to the role of complications. But I think there are risks that must be taken and be clear to about the economy and labor benefits and benefits for Colombia, which are very good in this trade agreement. So the next person is Adhara.
Thank you, Gabby. Well, continuing with our presentation, the most adaptable internationalization model for this type of company is the network model, and this is the one we are going to follow. Why? Because it helps build the basis of our business locally and internationally. Why? Because networking is really good for companies, and this presents an extraordinary occasion to obtain the resources and the knowledge that it's necessary and vital for the global development of the company. Also, when we create these ties, these network ties, it's like we're building bridges, and building these bridges are going to help us as well with networking in other countries. So this could be like the first step for our company to make its way overseas with a successful entry to a new market. Now, how are we going to carry the stages of internationalization? Well, there are a lot of stages, but you know, according to our company and the things we have researched and everything, we have chosen 4 stages. The first stage is domestic market establishment. This means that this is the appropriate place to start, and so we can test the products and fine tune the performance of our product and how it's going to be received in other countries. Now it's also giving a good indication of performance, and this will give us everything we need. But there might happen in some instances that the product doesn't work, doesn't serve any purpose at all. For example, if our product is software, maybe selling a program of a software to a software company, then we won't need to test this in our own market, because this is going to be for a very specific foreign market, and this is going to require a lot of time and a lot of money on the part of the exporter. So we need to ensure a strong foundation, and also we need to ensure that the domestic market is going to receive our product in the best way possible, so that the international activities do not compromise the company's core business. Now, the second stage is the export research and planning. I think this stage is uh, mostly important in any kind of endeavors. If any company wants to go abroad, they need to do a research and they need to plan ahead. So one of the things that can help to do this is target, a country that's similar to their own or to our own in language or maybe financial structures or legal and economic systems or even the culture. So let's, take the example again of Canada. Canada and the US are a wonderful example because they can try their own products with each other. They're border countries. They don't, they're not going to spend a lot of money exporting or importing. And, the cultures are similar. So let's say that in this case, the product is going to, be well received. So by doing a well-researched marketing plan, this is going to provide confidence, for us as exporters and as company owners to commit to exporting in the future. Also, having an appropriate international market research and planning activities, it's what's going to help us in the future. Maybe doing it by writing down a paper, maybe a document, writing down the potential problems and maybe the weaknesses that we may experience, and how we can identify these weaknesses more easily. This is going to allow us to foresee the potential challenges prior to making our exportations or maybe our investment in both time and money resources that are going to be required to have market development successful. Okay, so the third stage is initial export sales. We do that by testing the market. So of course we need to start exporting, but we're not going to go ahead and export all of our products or maybe all of our stock. This is mostly a strategy that it's going to enable us to practice, to gain experience in a market without incurring unnecessary or unmanageable risk. So in this part, we need to make the changes necessary to progress also with our product, and to become familiar as well with the mechanics of the country we are exporting to, the documentation needed, the distribution channels, the transportation, the collections. And so by doing this, we get to know the customer target group, and it's going to be easier for us to determine what product modifications we need to do in order to, prevent the business to be affected. And the last stage that we consider as a company is the expansion of international sales, of course. Why? Because if the local sales, internal sales of our product are good so far, and we have keep a very high number within the years that we have been in the business, then of course we might say that we have the perfect basis to go abroad. In this case, we normally accompany this expansion with a research that we already talked about, but it has to be like a more aggressive participation in the international trade shows where other companies are also trying to sell their products, and maybe these trade shows can happen abroad, maybe if they can happen in our same country. So we have to be on the lookout for that. And most of all, making emphasis on strengthening the networks and the contacts that we gain on those trade shows, because those are the people that are going to, represent, I would say, a potential partners in the future, maybe in the near future. And this is going to strengthen the position of our company in the market. So it's going to be a win-win business. Now, by the time our company reaches this stage of the expansion of international sales, we will have already learned, you know, everything about it. We will have everything about the export market, maybe through the experience, through the research studies, and this is going to help us to make the appropriate adjustments to our strategy so we can proceed and strengthen our position in the market.
So, my first conclusion, avocado is a product that consumer acquires at high prices. Also, is given the long distribution chain, which is why a cost leadership strategy is formulated in order to reduce production. Also to marketing and distribution channel cost, in order to research a final consumer with a low price. Competitive is a strategy must be implanted in order to competitive in current market with a new products, new varieties, new innovation, new opportunities to improve variety and entirety of products from neighboring countries such as Venezuela, Ecuador, or for gains such as Japan.
So for me, the export of the Colombian has avocado to another countries, especially to ASEAN countries, represents a great economy and cultural opportunity for Colombia. Also, the risk and the benefits that this type of agreement represent in your countries must also be warning in me.
Well, in my case, I can't stress enough the importance of strengthening our ties, whether it's nationally or internationally. So when we are implementing the strategies to position our product, our company internationally and following the stages of internationalization that we already discussed, we have to do it so showing confidence and showing competitiveness, with our product and in our product, and effectively meeting up the expectations to go global with the proper knowledge and resources so we can secure our company success.
Well, after everything was explained, and even though there are risks and challenges when going abroad, especially to a country as different from Colombia as it is Japan, at CAVOCADO, we are prepared to reduce the risk and face the challenges with different methods that we already explained and strategies that will allow us to succeed on this new market we are getting into. Thank you all very much for your attention, and we will be on the lookout